What's up YouTube, this is Joe from Zephyr Wargames, and with the release of the brand new DDD support, I had to start deck building, practicing, playtesting, seeing what the end boards change and differ and look like, and seeing what other combinations of cards and combos that we can do in a deck that helps not only spice up the deck, but also gives it a bit more power, leeway and consistency, everything and all that. So I'm going to show you guys some free combos first, and also then after that I will give you guys the deck profile. The deck profile is still beta tested. Literally, as you can already tell, I'm doing this just hours after the reveal of the support, so the deck needs a lot more playtesting, a lot more narrowing down, but it's got the bare gist, the bare bones on what possible ratios and what possible like decisions can look like and things like that, and all of that nice juicy stuff. So before I get to all of that, if you enjoy, give us a like and subscribe down below, ding that notification bell, because obviously if you enjoy a person's content here on YouTube, you don't want to miss out on that content, and that notification bell helps prevent that, and all of that is greatly appreciated, and we thank you guys so much for doing so. So with all that said and done, let's jump head first into these nice combos. So the first combo is just going to be your bare bones 3-card combo that we already do, but just how the end board can differ and change with the new support. So as you can see, I'm going to demonstrate by opening both Slimes and a Kepler. Pretty self-standard there, like on what you want to do. Normal Kepler, add gate, play gate, add Lamia. We now got all the pieces in our hand. Fusion, make your Genghis. I'm going to breeze through this because it's pretty much self-explanatory. Banish the Swirl Slime, special the Lamia, trigger the Genghis, get back the Necro, synchro off into Gust King, link these off into Sheep. Use the Necro Slime, banish the Genghis, summon the High Genghis, trigger the Gust King, get back the Lamia, synchro those, make your Crystal Ring, trigger the Sheep, special the Lamia, trigger the High Genghis, special the Gust, link these off. This is how I personally do it, just because it gives you the bare bones disruptions. I say bare bones like I know the term, probably like, or is the bare minimum of what you need to disrupt your opponent. You're going to end on 4 disruptions or more, like 5+ disruptions, thanks to the new support. And it doesn't take too much out of the extra, it doesn't take too much out of your main deck. It reduces clunky cards like DD Ghost. We don't need that anymore, and things like that. It's just nice and simple, nice and constructed. So you make your Hulk, you summon out another Lamia from your deck, and then here you can either go into Siegfried or Savage. I'm going to go into Savage because it's an Omni Negate. You can equip the Sheep. Savage now has 2 Omni Negates on it. You've got your Crystal Ring as well. And then you can stack, thanks to the new support, you can now stack the High Genghis here with your DDD Administi King Doom Machina. So this end board now, thanks to new support, gives you a Monster Negate, an Omni Negate / Spell Negate if you want to go for Siegfried. It gives you your Doom King Machina, and it gives you a Hulk. So the Hulk can then, as we already do, banish itself, summon formula, give you a draw, and then sync off with probably your Crystal Ring into the Satellite Warrior, which then gives you 3 pops from graveyard thanks to all the stuff you have in the grave. But now, thanks to the Machina, before we even think of doing that, we can like leave that till last minute to use your Satellite Warrior. We can now go Machina effect, pop the gate, attach the thing as a material, then use the effect again later on to attach to, steal something, put that underneath, and so on and so forth. Then you got your Monster Negate, then you got your Omni Negate, and then if they're still managing to go through that, bear in mind you've stolen 2 of their materials, you've negated a monster, you've negated something else. If they're still comboing off, cool. Banish, special, sync, satellite, pop 3. Like, if they manage to play through all of that, they deserve the win. As far as I can say, they deserve the win from that. So that is just literally your bare, like, your already what you're doing combo. Like, this is just using the cards you already have in the deck. Just changes the combo ever so slightly. If you keep the if you keep the Genghis all on the board, you can then use that Genghis to become a 1 monster double steal, and then, you know, keep on going from there. But now with the new support, if you open up Swirl, something like a Swirl, Lamia, and a Griffin, if you swap the Kepler for a Griffin, you can now do combo. Like, if you go Swirl, Griffin, make your Genghis, banish the Swirl Slime, summon the Lamia, use the Genghis to special Griffin. We can now use Griffin to search a DD. So now you can search the Lamia. And you can play the Lamia, synchro this into Gust, link this off into Sheep. Then you can go banish the Necro Slime with the Genghis. Summon your High Genghis, use the Gust King, revive the Lamia, synchro these, you make your Crystal Ring, use the Sheep, summon the Lamia, summon back the Gust, link these off, go into Crystron, Crystron summons the Lamia. And then what I would then do is synchro into Siegfried and then stack this on top of that. Because the Machina says, when a monster card your opponent controls activates effects quick effect, you can attach 2 materials from this card or destroy a dark contract card you control, and if you do, attach the opponent's card's material. So you probably then actually still make the Savage. I literally just thought he also said DD. So unless you have the gate in your, like, you still end on all of this thanks to the Griffin. But if you did open up like any contract in your hand, it could be a gate, it can be Swamp King, it could be the brand new field spell that we have. You can then make this card live. So you can make him live to then start detaching and popping. Or if you didn't want to end on the Savage, like if you didn't want to do that, you can still make the Siegfried. And then like overlay those two into like a Kali Yuga, and then use the Kali Yuga to make the Machina. Which then means you got a double steal off the Machina still, and you still have a monster negate. So like you got options, but the fact that Griffin is still now full combo, it's just absolutely insane. Like, it is just literally insane. Like, if you wanted to, you could have kept, like, you could have made the Siegfried, link these off into a Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh sets your scales, and then you can start doing things that way. Like, there's lots of options that you can do. Bear in mind, Griffin would be in the extra deck. So, once you make your Gilgamesh, so on and so forth, you could probably find a way to pen summon. But yeah, that's the second combo utilizing Griffin as a form of searcher / extender and things of that nature. Now I want to show you guys the 1-card spicy combo that you can do in this deck. If you play the spicy tech in your main deck, thanks to the new support. Like, the new support just makes this, you could do this combo already, but thanks to Griffin being in the deck, the combo gives you a bit more consistency, optional consistency from your hand, while also keeping your Lamias in your deck and keeping your contracts still in place. I'm going to show you that now. And it's just all from Kepler. So Kepler is still very important. Don't think that this new support has made Kepler not important. Kepler is still vitally important in this deck. The new support like Griffin, etc., And Marketer just means that the deck just has other ways to play around combos and play around hands. That doesn't fully utilize Kepler. But now we can normal Kepler. Kepler adds Gate. We can play Gate. And then Gate adds Griffin. Now, since we control DD, we can special summon Griffin. I just want to double check and read that. If you control DD, you can special summon this card from your hand in defense position. So we can now link these two off and go into our Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh can now set 2 cards in the pendulum scales from our deck. So unfortunately, this is not EU legal because we do have to utilize Zero King Rage, but we set Rage in scale, and then we also set Cerberus in scale. So now with that, we have a pendulum scales of 0 to 6. So now we can pen summon back out the Kepler and the Griffin. Because we pendulum summoned Griffin, we can now actually use this effect to ditch a DD or contract from our hand, and then draw a card, since it was pendulum summoned. So if you do have that, if you wanted to like shuffle things around, you can then do that. Like if you had like a Necro Slime in hand, it'd be perfect. Ditch the Necro Slime, draw a card. It's perfect. Now we use the Cerberus to make DD Kepler a level 4. So now we overlay these. And then we go into our Wave King Caesar. And then we can stack the Caesar with a Marketer. This doesn't seem like much. It's like literally, oh, 1 card combo gets you a Marketer. Well done. Well done is indeed. Because, bear in mind, you have the Gilgamesh still in play. If this dies, you're getting a free DD from your extra deck. Marketer is literally, when doing it this way, is now a 1 card... 2 disruptions literally on his own, which is absolutely phenomenal, because you detach 2, steal something if they activate when they activate a monster effect. It's cool. You can then detach 2, steal something else. That's another thing. You can then pop 3, steal something else, then detach 2 again and steal something else. We have stolen 4 cards from our opponent's play from just off 1 card. You can then put him in defense mode as well, because he has 3k defense and he can't be like lightning stormed and things like that. Like literally 1 card gets you a 4 disrupt combo with a set pendulum scale, a gate if you didn't want to use it, which then means it's a 3 card disruption, and a free summon off this. Like, that is insane. Absolutely insane. All it took is to add these to your deck and extra deck. Thanks to the new support, which is just absolutely phenomenal. The only unfortunate thing is that it is a US only combo, and Canada, I believe. So that is unfortunate for us here in the UK. But the fact that we have that option up in the future is just absolutely insane. And it's something to highly recommend and highly think about probably putting into your deck. But those guys, that's the combos I wanted to get through. I will now get into the deck profile. So let me reset all this and get to that deck profile. And so here is the deck profile. Let me get into this nice and quick. So, you know, we all know what we can probably work on. So we have the obvious free Kepler, pretty much self-explanatory, and then we have the brand new Griffin, DD Griffin, level 4, scale 1 pendulum effect monster, 1200 attack and defense. Also, again, as always, big shout outs to Alan Mac on DeviantArt for all the proxies that we here use on the channel. So pendulum effect, you're not really going to be using it unless you just target a 3 monster and it gains 500 attack for each contract in your spell and trap. For each dark contract, for each spell and trap dark contract you have on the field and grave, and it kills itself. You're mostly using him for his monster effect, which if you control a DD monster, you can special summon this card from your hand in defense. If this card is pendulum summoned, you can discard a DD or dark contract and draw 1 card. And if this card is special summoned from the graveyard, you can add a DD card from your deck to your hand, except DD Griffin. You can only use each effect of DD Griffin once per turn. So you can use all of them, which is absolutely fantastic. Literally the fact that DD Griffin can just set up DD Griffin in grave, which is pretty funny. Just adds a lot more consistency to the deck It lets you rely on Kepler a little bit less, and it just all around amazing, phenomenal card. I am also playing 2 copies of Savant Copernicus. You can jump around between 2 and 3 copies of this card. It's completely up to you. I'm just testing out 2 because I wanted to make space for the Cerberus tech in the main deck. But obviously, if you don't want to play Cerberus, if you're not too fussed on that 1 card combo that I showed you, you can then just bump Copernicus to 3. Continuing, we have the obviously 3 Spell Slimes, 3 Necro Slimes, 3 Lamias. I'm trying out 2 Ragnarok just because now with DD Griffin we can just search Ragnarok if we want to at any point. He is a great extender, and he can be abused a lot more thanks to Doom Machina. But again, 2 is just what I'm trying out for now. We are playing the Go Zero King Rage and the 1 Cerberus to round up the main deck of monsters. Zero King Rage obviously is just for you Canada and US players out there. And then the Cerberus is for the 1 card combo as well. I do hope we get another Scale 0 for the deck, just so that we can 3D Pendulum Summon our level 1s a lot easier. We don't have to then rely on Zero King Rage all the time. But I'm also just praying for Zero King Rage just to get a EU reprint. So that's it for monsters. Moving on to spells. For the contracts, we are playing the 1 Gate, the 1 Swamp King, and I'm trying out the 1 Painted to Dark Contract Documents. It is the new field spell for the deck. It is just literally a floodgate, which is absolutely phenomenal. It's a floodgate that we can search off Kepler whenever we need to. So if you don't know what this card does, again, it's brand new. If your opponent special summons a monster or monsters of the same type, Fusion Synchro exceeds Link as a DD monster you control, you can inflict 1000 damage to your opponent. Also, they cannot special summon monsters for the same type as that summoned monsters for the rest of the turn while this card is face up on the field. If this card is sent to graveyard, you can add a DD monster from deck, from your graveyard, or face up extra to your hand. You can use the vet of Painted Dark Contracts once per turn. So again, it's a floodgate, but also it's a recurrer card, which that can be triggered off your Doom Machina, because Machina can just send a contract you control to graveyard. This field spell fits that requirement. Send that to grave, steal something as a material, and then get you back a DD thanks to your contract, which is just fantastic. Moving on to searches, we are playing 3 copies of the Peerless map, Pity Realist map. This is coming out in Brothers of Legend, as far as we know here, in the non-OCG, so in the TCG. It's a phenomenal card. I put it here in the deck as a proxy just because this is obviously a proxy deck post Battle of Chaos, which then means we're going to be far past Brothers of Legend. So this is a option for the deck, but this is a fantastic card. It searches you a monster with 0 attack and defense in your deck. So at the start of your main phase 1, add a monster with 0 attack from your deck to your hand, and if you do, half your life points. Also, you cannot activate the effects of the cards with the same name as the added card until the end of the next turn after this card resolves, or until you normal summon a monster with that name. So you just half your life, add Kepler, normal Kepler, start going off. And it's just a 0 attack, doesn't even have to be 0 defense, so you could probably search other things like Copernicus and so on and so forth. But yeah, Pierce Map is just absolutely an amazing card for the deck. Just adding another searcher for the deck for Kepler is just brilliant. 3 copies of Wealth Dow, we are level 1 focused deck primarily. 3 copies of Allure, just a generic draw card. You can play like Pot Desires if you want to instead of this, or you can play things like what's that card? The other level 1 searcher, you can play that as well. I'm just playing Allure just because of generic draw power. 1 copy of 1 for 1, it's 1 for 1. And then to stop those hand traps, 1 Cool Mode Graven, 2 copies of Triple Tactic Silence. You can play Cross-Out Designator if you want to. The deck is kind of tight for space, thanks to all the brand new support cards. For me personally, currently at this point in time, or in early testing, so I just gone for this ratio just because this is just generic Cool Mode Graven. And then Talents, you know, doesn't stop the hand trap, but we can bait a hand trap in this deck quite easily. So if you bait the Ash, Veil, or whatever, you then go Talents, look at their hands, take the other hand trap away. So it takes a hand trap out of the hand for then you to continue with your actual play. And to add the main deck, I'm playing one copy of DD Headhunt. So it's a brand new trap card. I just want to test out for now. If you control a DDD monster, you can target face-up monster your opponent controls, take control of it until the end phase of the next turn. But its effects are negated. It cannot declare an attack. Also, for special summon, the extra deck is treated as a DDD monster. So you can search this with Griffin, I believe, because he has to be a monster. Yeah, DD. DD card from deck to hand. Yes, so you can search this off Griffin if you've already got everything in your hand. So you can search this off Griffin. It is then a disruption plus a negator. Because then the chain, as far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong, if chain links resolve backwards, the fact that chains do resolve backwards, if you activate something, they like negate with a crystal ring. For example, you're going to go Headhunt, take the crystal ring. This effects are now negated, which means you technically then negated the crystal ring, and then you can continue off going. So that's as far as my understandings of like how chain links work and things and so forth. But if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But the fact that this can steal something and then turn into triple D, which then means you can stack your Doom on top, it's pretty good. That's it for main deck. Moving on to extra deck before my recorder dies. 2 copies of Genghis and 1 big Genghis, pretty much self-explanatory there. 1 Formula Synchron, 1 Gust King, 1 Siegfried, 1 Crystal Ring, 1 Savage, and 1 Satellite for your basic synchros. If you don't want to play Satellite, you can play Calamities, but then you have to play a Ghost in your main deck, and then you have to change your combo around. For XDs, I'm playing 2 copies of Doing Markina and then the 1 Wave King Caesar for the 1 card combo. I'm trying out 2 Markina. You can only control 1 in the monster zone, but when he moves himself to the pendulum zone, you can then summon another one. But if you don't want to play 2, you can then just put in like a a Zeus in the extra deck. A lot of people are saying like, oh, we can now turn any triple D into a Zeus, which is pretty funny. And that is good. Yep, that is perfectly valid. It can also be a YUGIOH if you want to have a back row hate in your extra deck, but I'm trying out 2 Markina at the moment. Absolutely phenomenal card. And yes, so I'm trying it out. It'll also just be a link if you want to. 1 Gilgamesh, 1 Hulk, and then 1 Cross Sheep for the links. I don't really use any other links. I do see people bring link 4s in the deck. Personally, I never go into a link 4. I never see a need to go into a link 4. So I never really play one. But that, guys, is the deck profile plus combos. I hope you all enjoyed it. Leave your comments down below what you're thinking for your DD decks in the future. What cards are you looking forward to? Are you looking forward to this support as much as I know I am? I know a lot of people in the comments when we did the initial reveal were very excited, like myself. So great to see all you fans are still out there. Yes, so as always, like, comment, and subscribe. Expect more profiles and combos up in the future. Until next time, as always, stay safe and happy dueling.